I want to share just a few things with you about what the last year of our church life has looked like before we introduce some of the other people who are going to talk. And that information is going to be on the other side of the news. You can use the little insert there if you want to grab that. Not terribly important information per usual, but fun things to look at today. We're going to just look at some ways that God has blessed the Orchard family this last year. And Ephesians 4:15 and 16 is a beautiful verse that I think summarizes what we're working to be all about here in the Orchard. And it's right there at the top of your notes and also on the screen up here. And it says, we will speak the truth in love. That's sort of where it starts for us. We want to speak the truth of God's word to our community, but do it in a loving manner. So we want to be about speaking the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church. Jesus is in charge of this church family and nobody else, and so that's what we are all about, is making sure that we point people to Jesus as the head of his body. It says, he makes the whole body fit together perfectly. That's you and I. That's everybody here. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts to grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. And that's what I see when I look at the Orchard Christian Church over this last year, is that we are healthy and that we are growing and that we are full of love. And that's something that we want to continue for many years to come. And we've sort of put some of these ideas together in our own mission statement that you see every Sunday morning on the banners up here in the front and up on the screen behind me and on your bulletin. The mission of the Orchard Christian Church is sharing God's grace so that hearts grow deep in love for Christ and rich in love for people. And I hope that is an accurate description of sort of what our church has looked like this last year, and that's going to be our mission statement that guides us for years to come. So that's what we're aiming at, and I would love any feedback that you have about how well we're doing at those things or how we might be able to do them better at any point in time. But hopefully we'll see from some of the people that are going to share this morning that this church family is doing a pretty good job of living out the mission that God has given us. I want to share just a few statistics. I'm a numbers guy. I was actually a math major in college, so my brain just always goes to numbers, and that's one way that we can evaluate sort of the health and effectiveness of our church. And I shared this quote last year by Ed Stetzer, who's sort of a church planting guru, helps new churches get started. And based on his research over the years, he wrote that the typical church plant, that's what we are, a new church, does not pass 100 in attendance after 4 years. That would be the average. And so we have a little graph up here of what our attendance has looked like, sort of quarter by quarter in 3-month chunks. And you can see within 6 months, we had already hit that number here in the Orchard. But I want to go back to that quote real quick and look at the other number. The typical church plant does not pass 100 in attendance after 4 years. We've already hit the 100, but if we project sort of how our church is growing, in this next graph, there's sort of a trend line that shows where we're going to end up. There we go. And you can see 200 is right at the top of the graph. We're on pace to actually be at 200 within 4 years, which is double what the average church does. And that's just a testament to the people that God has drawn here together, submitting their lives to Him and being about His mission for our valley. And so that's it's exciting to me to see those numbers. More specifically, I'm going to share just 4 quick numbers with you. About things that indicate what's going on in our church family. In the first year, from April of 2014 through March of 2015, our average attendance over that whole year on a Sunday morning was 96 people. We started out kind of slow and then got bigger at the end, but for the whole year, our average was 96. Now, in the second year, from last April through this March, our average attendance has gone to 128. Which is growth by a third. If that growth continues, this next year will average 171. And so that's exciting to think about the people that God is going to reach through our church family here. Our staff, at the end of our first year, we had 1.5 staff people. That was myself, and then Pastor Tolley, who was just working part-time with us at that point. And now, at the end of year 2, we are up to 2.5 staff people, because we've been able to move Tolley up to full-time, serving in the Orchard here, and then also added Nancy Beeman as our half-time office manager. And anything that looks pretty today or tastes good or is fun, that's Nancy's doing. And so yeah, you can give Nancy a hand. That's been a tremendous blessing this last year, as well as sort of the growth in numbers of people coming together to worship Jesus here in the Orchard. The people who have been coming have also been growing in generosity. In our first year as a church family, the average giving per person was $20 a week, and in this last year, in year 2, that average, even as we've grown, has gone up to $25. So God is growing our hearts, just like our mission statement says we are hoping and expecting Him to and asking Him to. And then the biggie, the one that touches eternity, in our first year as a church family, we had 8 people that we baptized into Christ, which was exciting and terrific. And then this last year, we had 18 people, and I want you to see their faces. We've got another slide up here, kind of hard to see in the dark, but 26 people up to this point in our church life. It's exciting to just get to be a part of what God is doing, isn't it?